Let's take a look.
So this video will be going over some of the options you have after you land a command grab. I've been labbing it because, well, landing command grab with Faust is extremely rewarding, especially for his strike throw mix-up game. You can get a reliable safe jump every single time you land command grab, so it's immune to DPs and immune to invulnerable supers. You can get low overhead mix, strike throw mix, left to right cross ups, both on the safe jump and after knockdowns. All of it can be converted off using RC for combos. Because you're detonating the Afro, you get more damage, so you get bigger combos, yada yada yada, you get the picture. I'll be showing quite a bit in this video, it's a long one. They might be 2 separate videos. I might do another one after this one because I have found quite a few more stuff that you can do as well on top of this. This video will mostly be covering jump D safe jump, but you can also do a jump heavy slash safe jump, and it kind of changes the situation and the options you want to pick, because jump D is more offense, well, not just offense, but you get more damage because of the Afro detonate, and it has defense properties because of the Afro detonate. You can get plus frames in a kind of way from your buttons. If you basically get the timing down, you can end your string before the Afro detonate, so it can make unsafe strings safe. So it's one of the few ways Faust can actually get reliable resets, since he doesn't have plus frames, outside of doing deep jump-ins and things of that nature. Jump heavy slash, on the other hand, doesn't have the safety net the jump D does because of the Afro detonate, but it gives you more options in regards to strike throw mix, because if the Afro is ignited and you land a command grab, it will not reset the Afro. This is good and bad in 2 cents, because the good side of it is you get left right mix, and depending on when the Afro detonates, you might get meterless conversions off it, and even if you don't, you still get more damage, which is always a good thing. But the downside of it is that it's hard to reset the situation, because Faust's win state, and if you don't know what a win state is, it's basically the optimal situation for your character. Basically, you want to be in that state constantly because it greatly benefits you while simultaneously being extremely detrimental to your opponent. Faust cannot reset his win state when his opponent is in Afro, well, when his Afro is ignited. But with jump heavy slash, because you're not igniting the Afro immediately, it improves the strike throw mix. In a separate video, I'll probably go over the jump heavy slash options and explain it a little bit more in depth. But just to clear up the jump dust, it leads to low overhead mix, left right mix, strike throw mix. It leads to meterless combo conversions. It leads to higher combos. It leads to, well, not higher combos, higher combo damage. It leads to better screen carry. It's basically the optimal place you want to be with Faust. So landing this as frequently as possible is very, very good. Plus, because you're not really needing items when your opponent is in Afro state, it reduces the RNG element of Faust's offense, because when you're not in Afro state, you kind of need items. Well, not when you're not in Afro state. When your opponent is in Afro state, you don't really need items as much, because it reduces the effectiveness of certain buttons. Like 6p, for example, makes Faust's mid-range neutral a lot more tricky to work around. Now, these options aren't foolproof. It's not like you just pick one and then GG's, you win. There are counterplay options to this, especially with the air dash option I will probably be showing first. There's also going to be quite a lot of the air dash options because it's quite a versatile string. Your opponent can dash out of it, they can hit you out of the air dash specifically. And it will vary from character to character, so certain characters will have better options than others. For example, Faust has a very good anti-air 6p, so even though you're not 6p invulnerable, you don't have invulnerability frames from 6p, because of the way the hitbox on Faust 6p is, it would relatively speaking, counteract Faust's air dash very well. Sol's 5k would also counteract it very well. It's very active, very high, very fast. If you've played Faust for any length of time, you know how much of a nightmare 5k is. But even though these options aren't foolproof, there are ways to work around the negatives of them, make your opponent have to guess how to respond. And if you are versatile and you rotate between your options fairly frequently, it's going to benefit you greatly, because it's basically just going to play mind games with your opponent. They're not going to know what you're going to do. And when they can't tell what you're going to do, they're basically just going to sit there and block. And that's going to allow you to get away with a lot of cheap free crap that normally shouldn't work, but it will work in these situations. Even though this video mostly is going over safe jump D strings that you can do after command grab, there are some left-right ones, like doing snip into jump air dash mix, for example. And you can also do safe jump into air dash S, make the jump S whiff, and then go into a command grab. These options are good, but you do not want to present them to your opponent first. You always want to do the safe jump first, so your opponent becomes aware of it. Once they become aware of it, they will have to start respecting it. And then once they start respecting the safe jump, you can get away with doing other things. I make the mistake from time to time of, when I first land a command grab, going for left-right mix, fusion mix, without presenting the safe jump first, which is a terrible idea because my opponent has no reason yet to respect the safe jump or even know that I have one. So always lead with the safe jump first and then pick from these options later. As I said before, there are counterplay options to this by your opponent, but there are also counterplay options you can use to stop their options. I will show some of the counterplay options your opponent can do, as well as some of the options you have to stop those counterplays. These options will only really be needed if your opponent is smart enough or adaptive enough to figure out these options and start to alter their offense and defense accordingly. But if they do, it's always handy to know what options you have to keep your pressure going and to just make the guessing game as favourable for you as possible. The reason I do close slash jump D as well, I just thought I'd go over this quickly, is that close slash, you can technically do close slash jump K jump D as well, but the issue with this is, depending on the character, the jump D has a nasty tendency of whiffing on certain characters, like May for example. So close slash jump D is more consistent. Also, when your opponent is in Afro state, you can do 5k instead of close S. But again, it's less consistent than just close S, because characters like Faust, Giovanna and Jacko can't low profile the 5k even in Afro state. So just take that into consideration, be aware of the matchup, be aware of the, I don't want to call them defense properties that your opponent has, but I can't think of a better word right now, so I'm just going to call them defense properties that your opponent does have, and alter your offense around them. This isn't a full comprehensive list of all the different strings and all the different interactions you can get from safe jump jump D into close S. There are quite a lot more, if I'm perfectly honest with you. These are just some of the ones that I found and some of the ones I find to be more useful. For example, doing close S into jump D into a double jump into jump slash heavy slash is very good, but certain characters, particularly the fast ones, can just run away from that. Go Lewis, depends on his reaction speed. Nagoriyuki, I guess he can Fukio, but you know, there are different options around this, so watch what your opponent does and see how he likes to defend. Or does he like to move a lot? Does he like to mash buttons? Does he like to use invulnerable moves? Does he like to just sit there and block? And adapt the offense that I'm showing in this video to accommodate for your opponent. The structure of the offense I'm showing in this video is quite versatile. You don't need to do air dash, you can just do a second double jump. If your opponent is being very respective of your pressure, or likewise is just very scared of it, you don't even really need to go for the second jump. You can probably just re-land and apply pressure again. Or go into like a a delayed mix, especially if you have a bar RC, because then you can, fast RC mix into heavy slash to gain plus frames, or you can fast RC it into jump D, so the jump D whiffs, and then you go into throw or command grab or close S if you want to try and fish for counter hits, stuff like that. Again, these options aren't really set in stone, it's more of a guideline, so to speak, of what you can do. And a lot of this stuff is going to have to be adapted depending on the character you fight and the way the opponent likes to play that character. But it is a very, very versatile offense, I feel. This commentary is kind of all over the place. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head what I think I need to tell you about this stuff. I'm not watching the video while I make it, so I'm just trying to remember stuff. Sorry about that. Oh yeah, one other point is the mix cross-ups. They do lead into mixed loops. I won't be showing them in the video. I am really, really bad at mix cross-up. Well, how do you word this? Mix cross-up, mixed loops. Yeah, that's right, I think. Yeah, those. I'm really bad at them. I'm getting better at regular mixed loops. I'm actually quite relatively consistent with them now, but mixed cross-up mixed loops are a nightmare. I haven't figured that out yet. I can't get them to work, but it is a thing. You can do it, and it's a very, very good option if you can do them, because it is a way to extend the combo meter free and get a bit more damage. And if you have a bar of meter, you can extend them for corner carry and get even more damage, or you can get a mix cross-up super, like mix cross-up, mix loop into super, which is very, very good. Especially if you're not close enough to the wall for a wall break or a wall bounce or something like that. It's a very good way mid-screen of, racking up the damage and actually making your opponent have to be afraid of mixed cross-ups, which will obviously condition them more to want to mash to stop the mixed cross-ups, or they want to switch their guard to block, which means your safe jump has a greater chance of hitting, and it also has a greater chance of counter hitting, which, win-win. Is that it? Is that all I wanted to cover? I really should have watched the video while making this. It would have helped make this commentary a lot easier, or at least put down some notes. I'll probably, maybe next time. Don't know if there's anything else. Well, if there is anything else, I will put it in text form at the bottom of the screen, where it normally is. If you have any other stuff you would like to add to the video, feel free to leave it in the comments for other people, and myself of course. I'm always happy to read them. If you need any more information about what I've showed in the video, again, feel free to leave a comment. I'm always happy to help you out. I hope the video helps you out. Thanks for watching.
Take care.